how's it going? Well, it's Christmas Eve day here in Japan. That means it's coming up on the holiday in many other places in the world, and I just wanted to do a brief, well, you know me, I can never be brief really, but I want to do a little reflective video thinking back on my first 9 months of booktubing of this channel for 2025. And also I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my plans for the new year. Now, I'm not someone that wants to overly plan things and set up TBRs and such. I think that's cool when other channels do it. I like watching some of those videos, but I kind of like to keep things a little loosey-goosey because I have a lot of schedules that I have to keep when I'm working at my various university jobs where I'm teaching and other things involving my son, etc. So I don't want to put my enjoyment of this BookTube channel too tightly scheduled, if at all possible. First things first, I want to thank everybody who has been kind enough to watch my videos on this channel, leave comments, like, subscribe. Anyone who's spent time watching my long, rambling jibber jabber about books and what I'm reading and other thoughts on those subjects, I want to thank you all very much for that. I've been overwhelmed by the reception I've got. I never expected to be have a meteoric rise to hit massive levels of subscribers, but I'm doing pretty well considering I've only been at this for 9 months, and considering I have a quite, I guess, you know, I'm part of a niche of a niche of a niche really on YouTube. But I've really appreciated, especially the people who regularly watch and comment on my videos. Thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it. It's been great getting to know some of you better, viewers as well as other BookTube channels, people who are, you know, other content creators. Lots of great people in this space, in this particular corner of BookTube. Very thankful for the support and for getting a chance to get to know some of you better. Now, 9 months on BookTube, I think I put out at this stage about 86 videos in those 9 months. So I've kept a pretty steady, consistent stream. I've been aiming for roughly 2 videos a week. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 1. Now I've been adding a few live streams that take up maybe the space that some of the other regular videos in the past might have done. And those have been a lot of fun. Really appreciate anyone who pops into those or watches them after the fact. And I'm going to continue to do those next year. Now, some of the things that I did this past year, I was a guest on the Elusive Exclusive Book Society, EBS, also known as EBS, which is hosted or put together by or consists of 3 great BookTube channels: Jake at Pulp Mortem, Tim at Secret Fire Books, and Nick at the Book Graveyard, 3 of my favorite booktubers, and that was a lot of fun. I was on there along with the great Deb from Omnivorous Reader, and we read and reviewed a really not particularly great book, unfortunately, but The Reassembled Man, and by, I believe his name was it Herbert Castle? Anyway, it won't be making my best of 2025 reads list for sure, but it was really fun to be on there. I really enjoyed that. I also was a guest on Chris at Liminal Spaces and Virgil from Literally Books. They're literally liminal. We had a great time talking to those 2 guys, and that was a real hoot, and I really appreciate the exposure both of those brought me. I had some other guest appearances. I think, let's see, I was on David Garage Geek's channel a couple of times. It's been a real pleasure getting to know Dave through his DAW videos. The whole DAW, Show Us Your DAWs tag was great. Show us your top 10 favorite covers, kind of put together by Richard at Vintage SF, and especially started off by Ben at Graticus Books. All that was fun. I know I was recently on Geeks Love Dogs, one of his second ever lives, along with Connor from Movie Snapper. Paul did a great job hosting that, and that was a lot of fun. In the lives I've done, I had, besides having David and Paul on, And I did a live with Mark from Richardson's Reads, and Larry's Library was on a couple times. That was a hoot. Another cool thing I was able to do on my channel this past year was some booktuber chats and at least one buddy read, which was really fun. So first I kicked off the booktuber chats by talking to the very cool Steve at Heroic Book Adventures. Now Steve's been taking a little break from filming videos recently, but I'm sure he'll be back in the new year. I hope so anyway. It was really fun to talk to him. I also did a buddy read of Hero's Journey with Steve and with Sam from Captain Samuel's Sigils. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Really had a good time with that, and hope to do a few more buddy reads in the future next year. And I also had a chance to talk to Nick at the Book Graveyard, one of my favorite booktubers. He was very accommodating and was really a great pleasure to talk to him. It's been great to get to know him and some of the other cool guys and gals around this corner of BookTube over the past year. I also, speaking of another great guy, Paul from Geeks Love Dogs, did a booktuber chat with him, and also with Jules Burt, which was a real surprise to me. He's such a busy guy and such a big, multimedia presence, but he's an extremely nice fellow and very kindly offered to chat with me, and that was a great chat. Learned a lot about some of his background that I didn't know before, and I hope we can do it again in the future sometime when Jules has a pocket of time once again, because there's still tons of things that we could talk about. All of those people, really great, really fun getting to talk with them. So that was another really wonderful addition to this past 9 months on BookTube. I also took part in some reading events, which I plan to do next year as well. That was a lot of fun. I don't think I got too overwhelmed with them. I was kind of a newbie learning my way with those, whether to do every prompt or whatever, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that if I do these reading events in the future, which I plan to do next year, some of them, that I might just do 1 or 2 titles to just participate, at least show my interest in the event, but don't have to feel, hardwired in to have to do every single little prompt or task or overly focused on those. I think that's a kind of sensible approach going forward. But overall, I just enjoyed showing some of my book collection off, talking about some books, doing some monthly reading wrap-ups, which aren't the most popular of my videos, but I enjoy doing them as even just for myself as kind of a way to go through what I read over a given month for my own personal edification, I suppose. And the fact that some people watch and comment is very much appreciated. So just to sum up, 2025 with this BookTube channel, it's went better than I expected it to. Back earlier in the year when I was toying with this idea and watching various channels and wondering, to myself what I could bring to the table. As it turned out, it's worked out pretty well, and I'm having a lot of fun, and I will continue to proceed doing this in the immediate future, as long as people still find this interesting, I guess. So moving on to plans for this channel for next year, for 2026. I have a couple of things in mind. I already mentioned some BookTube events. I will still try to take part in some of those. I'm going to try to read a book in January for Haggard January, which is a BookTube event created by Randy Ray, the Literate Texan, and several other booktubers, cool booktubers are taking part in that, including the estimable Michael K. Vaughan. Got some recent arrivals of H. Rider Haggard works, so I'll try to read one of those at least to join in a little bit in Haggard January. I'll still jump in on June on the Range, of course, get some Western reading in. PI July, cool new event started this past year by Jim at Mystery and Mayhem. I'll definitely be taking part of that. Sumerian September, both that and June on the Range, put together by the previously mentioned Michael K. Vaughan. And Cult Detective October, I will still definitely be involved with that. And Die November, the newer event created by this past year, created by Andre at Infinite Text and Brian at Bad Taste Books, two other really cool booktubers that I got acquainted with this past year. That was a lot of fun, so I'll try to read a few more dinosaur-related tomes next year as well. Now, I have some of my own projects, my own reading projects that I'm hoping to do. So I read a bit more science fiction, fantasy, and westerns than I usually do this past year, and I definitely want to step that up, put the gas pedal down a little bit in next year for all of those genres. I'm going to keep reading stuff that I've enjoyed over the past decades and have come back to recently. More Doc Savage, more The Shadow, more pulp in general, some pulp detective stuff. Of course, I'm going to keep reading Edgar Rice Burroughs and Robert E. Howard, but I also want to kind of focus on a few other things that I have been meaning to read for a while, but I haven't got around to yet. And one of them is I want to read Lord Fowle's Bane, the first book in the Thomas Covenant, The Unbeliever series by Stephen R. Donaldson. Now, there were at least 2 trilogies, I think. I'm not going to worry about the second trilogy, but I'll try to work my way through the first one, at least the first book. There is something that happens in that first book, Lord Fowle's Bane, that's pretty hard for a lot of readers, including myself, to get over. Something that the main character does that is pretty reprehensible and colors the events that go on from there. However, I've heard lots of good things about this novel and the series, and I've long been curious about these books. I remember seeing them all the time on, bookstore shelves, including when they first came out, back when I was a teenager. And I have Lord Fowle's Bane here. I'm going to try to read that in the coming first quarter of 2026 for sure. I'm also going to continue a couple of little projects I've been working on. One is my big book of surveys. I have 6 of the big book ofs, big books of collections of stories and occasionally novels edited by the great Otto Penzler. I've already talked about the big book of adventure stories. I did an overall survey video. The last couple of months I've done those, and I'm going to continue with the ones I have, and I'm going to continue to buy some new ones to add to my collection. I don't know if I'll ever get all 15 that have been put out so far, but I'll definitely get more than the 6 I currently have. And I'll continue talking about those, try to do some spotlights on each of those collections as anthologies, maybe one per month or so. I kind of missed my opportunity to do the one on the Christmas mysteries that I have for this Christmas season, but I just hadn't read enough of that collection to talk with any sort of authority about it, because even though there's a lot of well-known mystery writers in there, and they are famous generally for their own series character, most of the stories collected in that Christmas mystery stories anthology, the Big Book of Christmas Mysteries, don't feature their main sleuths, their main detectives. They're kind of one-offs, just general crime stories, and I haven't read enough of those to really speak with any authority on it. And not that I ever can speak with much authority on anything, but at least with some more knowledge about it. So I'm going to save that one for next Christmas. Hopefully I'll be getting through that or more of that next year, hopefully. Another project I've been doing, of course, has been the Grand Dames of Golden Age detective fiction. This past fall, I've released 2 videos, one on Agatha Christie and one on Marjorie Allingham. There are 4 more Golden Age detective novelists, ladies who are well known in GAD crime circles. I'm hoping to get to those, a video for each of those. There may be some team ups. There's a couple of them that I haven't a lot of experience with. I probably will combine 2 of them into one video. But I'm looking for at least I'm planning on another 3 videos, I think, to round out that series, while I will still be talking about other mysteries as I go through. I like a lot of different genres of fiction. I might not read a lot of classics. I will try to get to a couple of those next year if I can, a couple of ones that fit into my kind of action adventure fantasy mold, I guess. And my other big project that's not really a reading project, but it is a massive project that's going to take a lot of time this coming summer, what I'm kind of dubbed in an amusing fashion, to amuse myself, I guess, Operation Collection Reunited. So as some of you viewers have been or people who have been watching my videos for a while might remember, I've frequently mentioned that roughly 40% or so of my complete book collection is not here with me in Japan. It's back in the States in storage at my family's home in Washington State. And I'm planning this summer, going to invest a little money in this and renting a space in a shipping container and boxing up as many of those books as I possibly can afford to send. And I'm going to put them in a pallet and bring them up to these companies that specialize in this kind of shipments, that you can rent a space, or you can pay for a space in a shared shipping container, and then the slow boat to Japan will bring them over to me. And I'm not going to bring every single book, but I'm going to bring as many as I can, or ship as many as I can to me. I want to get most of my cool books that are not in my cave back in this cave here. So they're in a cave upstairs in the attic above my family's garage right now in totes, and they're just sitting there. When I go back, which is pretty infrequently these days with the cost of tickets, etc., but I will be going back this summer, and I am planning, that's one of my big projects. And I will film some of this probably as well as I pull these boxes down out of the attic, sort through them, box them up again to be shipped over to me, and take them up to the shipping company, and hopefully receive them sometime a month or two later, which would mean probably October-ish or so, maybe even later than that. And then, kind of do a collection haul, so to speak, of each of the books, maybe on the channel. I think that should be fun. And we'll see how that goes and what exactly I plan to do there. While I'm back in the States, I'm also planning to visit a lot of bookstores, used bookstores, and we'll try to take some video footage, or at least some photos, to show off some of the stores in my hometown area and the nearby cities. Probably get up to Tacoma, to the Tacoma Book Center, which is the biggest used bookstore in Washington State. Get down into Oregon. There's a couple of favorites down there. I'll try to get. Whether I'll get back to Powell's this time, I don't know. I'll probably try to anyway. Various things I'll try to, when I'm back home, I'll try to film and or do some B-roll at least that I can add into some fun, hopefully some fun and interesting videos next summer. And finally, I'll talk about a few things I'm planning to do early in 2026. One of those things is hopefully Rob from SpaceArchives and his great channel. He and I have talked about reading the pulp issue that we both have of Fantastic Adventures. And I showed that off in the past in a previous haul that I got from Nick at the Book Graveyard. He picked that up for me, which was very kind of him. And among other things he sent me, including some cool shirts. And Rob also received that, kind of indirectly helped out by Nick, as Nick told him of a place to go in Phoenix, I believe, to talk to a used bookstore owner who had a bunch of pulps. Anyway, we both have that same pulp, and I said, hey, Rob, why don't we read that sucker and have either a live stream or a video conversation talking about the stories in that pulp. So hopefully we'll get to that early-ish in the new year. I've also been talking to Chris at Liminal Spaces, Andrea at Infinite Text, and Nick at the Book Graveyard. Maybe we'll even try to get Virgil from Literally Books involved as well. We all have copies of Worse Things Waiting, the Manly Wade Wellman collection from Carcosa Press that won the World Fantasy Award in 1973, I believe, or 74. Anyway, we all have a copy of some sort of this book, and I thought, why don't we choose some stories in that and get together and discuss them. We won't be able to read the whole thing. Everyone's very busy. I'm not sure if that'll be in February or March. I'm still, it's kind of up to the schedules of the other hopeful participants, but I'm going to try to get that together, and we'll try to get that going in the new year sometime. I'll have more live streams in general. I'm hoping, again, the physical media rules kind of once a month live stream that I've got going with David at Garage Geek and some other guests occasionally. I'm going to try to keep that going. Looking forward to having other people on. I believe I'm also going to have been talking to Sam at Captain Samuel's Sigils about doing some kind of Philip Jose Farmer buddy read and discussion on his channel sometime in the new year. Should be a pretty busy time, but I'll be off for most of that until early April. So one of the benefits of being a teacher at a university here in Japan is you get long winter vacations, spring vacations. So I'm going to try to get up to some stuff in that time. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough, I think. The only other thing I might say is I hope to read more nonfiction in the new year as well. I didn't get to nearly as much as I wanted to of nonfiction this past year. I did read a couple of travel memoirs. Those were a lot of fun. In fact, one of them is in my top 10 books of 2025, and the other one would be a runner-up. Like to get into more of that. I got this big, nice set of Penguin Cerise travel and adventure books, used books, almost, anywhere from 80 plus years old or thereabouts, from the great Jules Burt. And I hope to get more of those and to get more of those read. And most of those, of course, are nonfiction or memoir. But I have a lot of other things I'd like to read. I'd like to read some more history books, etc. What I'll get to, I just don't know. I read, a fair amount of books this year, more than double what I read the previous year, largely thanks to having a BookTube channel. So that's been great. That's been a great benefit. So along with the community aspect of having a channel, the challenge, learning new technology, how to film videos, edit videos, a bit of a learning curve, and I'm sure you guys have kindly suffered along as I've slowly tried to improve my videos going forward, and I hope to continue to get better in the new year. Anyway, I have rambled on enough. Thanks again so much for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, whatever you've been able to do to show me encouragement and support. I really appreciate it. All the people behind the scenes as well, other booktubers who have lent me advice and words of encouragement and help support me by sharing my videos. Thank you so much for that. It's been a big help, and I will try to return the favor to other newbie booktubers that come out in the next year. So thanks very much. We will see you next time.